Making news online, what's trending in the social media platforms. And joining me for this particular discussion is Raymond Muthe, who is part of our Standard Digital Desk. Ray, good morning. It's good to see you.
Good morning.
Now, straight to it, that story that has just played yesterday, people had so much to say after President William Ruto, came out and said the Ford Foundation is sponsoring these protests. Let me just hand it over to you, because I know it was a lot.
Well, Ashley, it actually came as a surprise to me and to other Kenyans online from the kind of comments we are seeing, particularly about the Ford Foundation. It's interesting because Ford Foundation is a powerful humanitarian institution that has been in partnership with Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, and advocates for civic justice, and has actually disbursed over $10.7 million all the way from 2009. And President William Ruto has been seen as a darling of the West before. It is not without, it goes without saying that he has been seen as a darling of the West. Remember, it's just coming off the back of his state visit to the USA. And also Kenyans were pulling photos of him reportedly hanging out with the son of the foundation's chairman. And it's interesting because now people are saying, how then is this coming into play in terms of the double speak here? But it's also a huge claim in terms of the protests that are going on, and of course the state of affairs in the country right now. And President William Ruto has actually come out very strongly on this one. Kenyans also have put him to task to substantiate these claims and try and paint a picture of what exactly is happening. Of course, this is, I assume, is intelligence information that he gets from his security briefs. But it is interesting, we do not have so much information about this, apart from the president's sentiments. And the fact that Ford Foundation has reverted and said it has nothing to do with the violent protests that are being witnessed in Kenya, and has actually distanced itself from these claims, Ashley.
And yeah, what Ford Foundation said, of course, it says that it only issues grants on a strictly non-partisan basis. But also it's good to note, we've seen the blame game go from, opposition to what we saw the deputy president say. They're trying to frame him, and now we're seeing another person or another foundation named altogether. It seems it's hard for the government to understand or grasp the fact that these protests could be organic.
Actually, that is the splash today on the Standard.
Yeah, and running out of excuses is
brilliant.
The headline.
Exactly, exactly my point. And it's interesting to see how the government will now shape this whole narrative throughout this week. And let's see if they can substantiate these claims. But Kenyans online are really putting them to task, especially now that the president seems to be doing one thing and Kenyans countering it with another. Even today, Kenyans are expected to be on the streets. We'll be monitoring that as well on our social media platforms. Remember, social media platforms have been catalysts of these protests and have been the planning hub for these protests. So we wait and see what that comes into. But Kenyans are really asking for those claims to be substantiated. Let's
wait and see, of course. And of course, today being a Tuesday, we expect Gen Zs to come out in large numbers. Yesterday, Tuesday was trending. Perhaps have you seen anything this morning, trying to direct people or mobilize guys to come out to the streets?
There's a lot of propaganda, actually, I must say.
Yeah.
Because there's people who are circulating photos of a burning city clock. It cannot be identified when that was. There's also photos of police on the streets. We still can't verify these photos, and there's even photos of empty streets. So there's a lot of propaganda, but you can trust KTN News to bring you live updates on these protests as and when they begin, if they so do. But interesting to note is that people have also invoked the name of key government people who, through this propaganda, they are said to be, mobilizing people against these protests. But all this actually remains propaganda. Social media is a hub for misinformation as much as it is for information.
Yeah, Photoshop doing its best.
Yes.
All right, moving on. Let's talk about those bizarre murders, if I should call them that. What we saw, at Kware Dam site in Mukuru, Yes. We saw the DCI come out yesterday and say, we found the prime suspect. But this has left more questions than answers.
Yes.
What are guys saying online?
Well, as you rightly said, there's really nothing else to add. It has left more questions than answers. Of course, Kenyans were questioning the quick turnaround time of the DCI this time. Of course, with this investigation, people expected it will take quite some time because the president had actually given 21 days, and Douglas Kanja, the acting IG of police, had also said 21 days will be enough for them to complete the investigation. And then now the DCI boss comes out and says, we have the suspect with us. He has been arrested and he's in custody, and actually confessed to having even murdered his own wife. And during the arrest process, he was in the process of luring another lady to this same net that he had been carrying out for the last 2 years, since 2022 and 2024, making a total of 42 victims. It's raising more questions, Ashley, as you rightly said, because Kenyans are also questioning the identity of this man. And the DCI also had to... Actually, Kenyans pushed the DCI to the wall online, and they had to come out and say, this is the man we're talking about, then this is not the man we're talking about, in terms of the young man who went to the DCI and presented himself and said, listen, I'm not the person you think I am. And the DCI actually released a statement that said, please don't confuse those identities and caution people of misinformation. They even actually mentioned one account on Twitter, which is, they said is misinforming Kenyans on this.
Yeah. And just look at it, trying to get where Kenyans are coming from. I mean, this person, this suspect,
yes.
Collins Jumaisi is the name of the suspect,
yes.
has killed 42 women between 2022 and this July. Mind you, this dump site was literally near a police station. Like, these are the questions that are coming up. How is it that this operation went on without the police getting even a whiff of it?
Well, I actually saw someone asking that question.
Yeah.
How could he have ferried 42 bodies past a police station every time he did that for 2 years without anyone noticing? I mean, wouldn't that raise questions? And that's some of the questions Kenyans were asking online. I remember, actually, I was on desk when this story was breaking. And the first few comments of the post that I published of the DCI having nabbed the suspect, the first two comments were, this is a lie. And the comments are there on the social media. You can be able to view them from that particular post. It's interesting that and I remember one lawmaker actually brought a case yesterday in the morning on live television and said the level of trust between the government and the police and the people has gone down to the point that people have to escort bodies from Kware all the way to City Mortuary, which is now Nairobi Funeral Home. It's really interesting. And the comments online have already solidified this particular claim that the trust between the police and the people has really gone down. And especially when they started questioning this particular discovery by the DCI. But again, we wait for any more information from the DCI as to whether they'll be able to lift the lid on any more information they have.
Yeah. Anyway, it's quite unfortunate. Let's see if justice will prevail indeed.
Absolutely.
Another thing that is making, trends online is the hepatitis A, which has been experienced in Uasin Gishu. 3 children under 10 have died. Tell us more about this. It's quite sad.
Well, actually, this morning, this story actually made it to the top trends on Google Trends. And Google Trends usually samples from global trends and regionally. And as you rightly said, 3 children have died under 10, have died of hepatitis A in Uasin Gishu County over the last 3 months. And this has also put the government and the health ministry on its toes, because 10 more cases have been detected, particularly in Ziwa Soi sub-county and in children under 13. And now the ministry is cautioning, because of the heavy rains and the mode of transmission for this particular disease, the ministry is cautioning and asking people to actually observe caution and come out. And they've also, waterborne disease outbreaks have also been put on alert as to the fact that they actually spread during this period, and people are asked to observe caution. Ashley. Okay.
Let us now cross borders and head to the United States of America. It's been quite interesting few days. We saw the assassination attempt of Donald Trump, and then literally hours or so after, he's picked a running mate, which is, if I'm not wrong, the Ohio senator. Could this be you know, I was having a conversation with people, and guys were saying, you know, seems like it could be stage managed, seems like it could not be. What are people saying online? I don't know, what do you think about the whole situation before we go to what people are saying online?
Well, before I give my 2 cents,
Yeah.
I must acknowledge that people have said that this actually looked like it was stage managed. I found those remarks quite outrageous, because I do not know of anyone who can stage manage their own shooting to the point of being shot in the ear. Do you know how close the ear is to the brain, and how much damage that will do to you if by any chance it goes wrong? But be that as it may, well, Trump has announced JD Vance as his pick for the 2024 election. And it's interesting to see Trump coming out this way, because JD Vance was actually a former enemy, now became ally, and Trump. And even as we're having these discussions about the Secret Service and the security lapse or not, that was there, people are saying former President Trump is known for, you know, pulling closer his friends and trusting only the very few. And we've seen also his move in picking the running mate also surface these claims. But it's well, wait and watch, and wait and see around how this pick will shape the elections. And of course, there's that discussion about how the debate went between Trump and Biden. And of course, Kenyans are also not late to the party. They are also likening this to the debate that was between President William Ruto and Raila Odinga, who actually didn't show up, but for Biden showed up. And there's a lot of memes going around. I don't know if you've seen those memes, Ashley, but
I have.
we expect them to be coming out in large numbers in the coming days. But interesting to see how this particular move shapes the elections, and even as the world is watching, and particularly coming in the back of that assassination attempt on Donald Trump.
All right, thank you so much, Ray. Of course, this is a good place to end this particular conversation on what's trending online. It's always a pleasure to have you with us, Raymond Mude from our Standard Digital Desk.